You're live. There we go. Took a false start, kind of like the Packers in not San Diego, in Los Angeles. But here we are. We're back. I've had a long travel day. Sorry for the late arrival here, folks. But the Packers have been flexed into prime time. That's right. The showdown in San Francisco will be under the lights. God help us all. And let me tell you, I'm here to tell you, that's a beatable team. I know Niners fans are giving you all sorts of excuses for why they lost last night, why they looked the way they did. Don't listen to any of that. That's a beatable team, point blank. Look, every team has flaws. I know we all pick apart the flaws that the Packers have because we watch this team, we're obsessed with it, we follow it day in and day out. But they're no worse than any other NFC contender. And it's going to come down to taking care of the football, making the plays that present themselves. But Packers can win this game. I'm going to the game for my birthday, first ever game. Well, that sounds awesome. Have a great time. Hello to everybody in the comments. How are you? Good to see everyone. Yo, Nags, what's with the hate on King? Julian, it's a good question. I don't understand it. Could he play more consistently? Yeah, probably. I think that's everybody on the defense, though. Mike Pettin talked about that earlier today with the media. I think Kevin King's a really good player, and I understand that he's not a shutdown corner in so much that those even exist, but he's still a damn good football player, and the Packers are lucky to have him. The beauty of the game is going to be Generation 2 Shanahan versus Generation 3 Shanahan. Yeah, the crossover on these coaching staffs is crazy. That's going to be a lot of fun. Uh, Seattle might have one Clowney. Green Bay has two Smiths. That's a very good point. A lot was made by the Niners fans about them getting their tackles back, and Clowney made short work of that. Aren't you glad we fired our strength and conditioning coach this offseason? Clearly, the reason we're so healthy this year, right? But they didn't fire him; they just switched him. Still the same two dudes in charge. Just now Gizzy's in charge instead of Lovat. Still the same program though. Kind of funny how that works, right? Uh, New Biz Solutions. I like the call out to the new Star Wars, to the new edition by Greedo. That's nice. Jake, thank you for the super chat. Is there anything more infuriating than seeing our corners give a 10-yard cushion with 5 yards to go? Maybe one or two things, but not many things. Yeah, I'm with you. It does drive me insane, especially when you got somebody like Kevin King, who is better when he's playing press. I don't get it. Solid on the floor. We're assistants at Central Michigan football. It's a small world. Yeah, Ice. He actually Lafleur on Monday talked about how Saleh was the one who got him his first NFL gig. Literally brought him into the league, and now he's going to be calling his offense against his defense. It's pretty great. It's a pretty great story. Goal line fade, probably. I would concur with that as far as things that are worse than watching the corner stand 10 yards off. It's important to get these games in January. Come Lambeau, come January. Agree? I mean, if you listen to my co-founder Corey Banke, he's all about the profit margins and how it does a good thing for the community, etc. I mean, it's preferable, sure, but they went on a run on the road in 2010. And home field in general in the NFL has not meant as much as it used to in the playoffs the last few years. Um, all of that said, yes, I would very much prefer these games if they're going to be in the playoffs to be at Lambeau Field. That would be dope. Russell, thank you for the super chat. I think the way to beat the 49ers is get pressure on Jimmy G. He gets happy feet and then throws off his back foot and puts up very pickable throws. Yeah, there were a few dropped interceptions last night. No question about it. Yeah, he's a bit streaky, and I think he's prone to um, happy feet as you're talking there. I mean, most quarterbacks are like that, but you saw, especially with interior pressure, that's the way to beat a lot of guys is get somebody in their face right away and force them to get the ball out of their hand rather than have them plan to get the ball out of their hand quickly. Am I worried about Kevin King in single coverage? No. Thoughts on The Mandalorian? Seth, I freaking loved it. I understand there's a few corny parts. My daughter and I were talking about. We'll probably talk about on our podcast that you guys should check out. Nagler, a Star Wars story. But real quick, I loved everything about it except for two moments, two things. The opening alien that he comes to grab. I just hated the way that was played. It was like you're watching an episode of a modern day sitcom. And then the music when they're riding the blurgs was so cheesy and bad. But other than that, I loved it all. Andre, thank you for the super chat. Run the ball on the outside and then play action the hell out of the Niners and make Jimmy G beat us in the air. Yeah, the Niners are beatable. They absolutely are. And it's funny you're talking about the outside zone stuff and then the rolling of the quarterback. That is Shanahan. That has been the Shanahan staple for decades. And you saw them running it, both teams running it last night, both Seattle and the 49ers. I mean, that bootleg levels action is old school Shanahan, no doubt about it. Christopher, thank you for the super chat. Nagy, what are you holding coaches? Was that you holding coaches' feet to the fire and asking the tough questions that Packers fans want answers to? I don't know about that. I did ask why crossing routes were giving his defense such problems. I mean, you can't look at that game. I was rewatching it prior to the press conference, and it's just striking how much trouble they have when they either passing guys off or um, bringing a guy into your zone and sticking with him, etc. It's there were a number of cases where the Panthers had guys just screaming open, and obviously that's an issue. You got to get that fixed. And Lafleur, he gave a pretty pat answer about communication, and I'm sure that's true. But man, maybe they need to play a little bit more man, a little less switching on zone. Nags, I love that you are Darth Vader on your Disney Plus family setup. Your daughters are awesome. Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, it was nice to come home to. Definitely. We should go man to man. Dan, they do a bit of man to man, quite a bit of man to man. They don't pattern match though a lot, which is odd to me. For the rest of the year, who's lining up next to Blake, Burks or Goodson? I would think for the time being it'll be um, probably Ibrahim Campbell. You saw a lot of that. He played about 60% of the snaps on Sunday, um, and he took his lumps, but he absolutely flew to the ball. And we all know how much Pettin likes that sub package with that extra safety. And I think Campbell will be that guy going forward, unless maybe Raven Green gets taken back off IR. Then maybe they switch that around. But I think Campbell, it's telling that they played him so much. I mean, Chandon Sullivan just saw the bench right away as soon as Campbell was up. So I think, you're going to see more Campbell more than anybody down there in the box with Blake. Blake moving Fackrell, his best play of the year. I don't know. I loved the tackle that he had against Minnesota that he got fined for. I mean, it's like one of the greatest tackles he's ever made at the line of scrimmage. Completely blows up the ball carrier. It's a textbook tackle, and he got fined for unnecessary roughness. I mean, this fucking league. But that is a great heads up, adjustment by Blake. Seriously, seconds before Panthers snap the ball. Yeah, I mean, LaFleur didn't mince any words. He said they got really lucky there. That was a heads up play because they were in the wrong formation and they were aligned totally out of sync. And Blake, that adjustment was big time and obviously went a long way to keeping him out of the end zone. Oh, Christopher, thanks again for the super chat. And didn't you ask about the delay of game out of the timeout? Got to get that stuff fixed. Yeah, I did, Christopher. I told Corey my goal is to make LaFleur laugh at least once every time I'm in there, and so far it's mission accomplished. And I think he laughed because of the way I set that one up. But I mean, come on. This twice this year now. They've gotten a delay of game coming out of a timeout. What is Mike McCarthy never left? What's going on? Jake, thank you for the super chat. Han shot second. I'll see myself out. McClunky. Oh man, they just need to leave that scene alone. Nags, are the dropped INTs a result of the weather, or is that a serious problem for our D-backs? That's not a serious problem. They just got to hold on to it. I asked LaFleur about Jair, saying, he's always in position to make plays. He's just not closing and not closing it out. And, LaFleur's answer was, he has faith that those plays will come eventually. It's promising that he's in position to make them. Just got to hold on to them. But, it's the old adage. They're not wide receivers, they're defensive backs for a reason because they can't hold on to the football. Fackrell Gary is pretty much last year's Matthews Perry, and that's the second unit. Yeah, kind of. Although I think Gary kind of plays along the line a lot more than Matthews did. Will the bye week resurrect our offensive line? I'm not quite sure what you mean there, Daniel. They played pretty damn well against the Panthers. Aaron Rodgers even said, he had the one sack where he held the ball. They had another counted, technical sack because he ran and got caught 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. But for the most part, they kept him upright. He had a great pocket all night, and they absolutely tore through the Panthers' defensive front in the running game. So I mean, I know they had a bad outing out in Los Angeles, but that's not who they are. That was a bad day at the office. So wipe that from your memory. Next, injuries on the D line. Why are we bringing guys on, or is it the level of play? Well, I haven't seen that they signed anybody. I saw that they worked out people. Um, now I've been in an airplane or airport all day, so I may have missed it. But I did see Rob's report that they were working out a bunch of defensive linemen. My guess is they're just updating their emergency list in case there is an injury. A lot of times, that's what those Tuesday workouts are used for. But they could be legitimately looking to bring someone on. Maybe they make that move uh, later this week or early next. Lewis, thank you for the super chat. Hope to see more Vitali get the rock. I just want the ball in his hands. They had a play where they split him out left again. Man, I want him to. I want him to use that. I want Vitali split out left, running a 9 route. Rogers goes deep to the fullback. That has to happen this season. Uh, Thanks. Do you think the weather is a true advantage for the Packers if they have home field? Julian, I do. If they're doing what they did, they're constructed the way they were on Sunday. Holy cow! Yes, absolutely. Running the football, making stuff happen off of play action. Bring it all to me. I love it. Yes, 100%. Do you think the Packers will send someone to the Kaepernick workout? That's an excellent question, Nicholas. I actually sent a text to a couple people to see if they're planning on sending someone, and I haven't got a response yet. But as soon as I know, I will let you guys know. My hunch is yes. Overturn every rock. That's what they want to be in every conversation, as Brian Gutekunst says. I think they'll send someone. Now, who that would be, I'm not sure, but I'll be surprised if someone isn't there. The real DK, thanks for the super chat. How different is Mike McCarthy end of his tenure with a healthy Aaron Rodgers? Ooh, that's a really good question. Um, I don't think too different, but probably a little different. Maybe they win one or two more games, and maybe he doesn't get fired. Who knows? Pretty cool how the ex-Packer lineman stopped McCaffrey at the goal line. Why was Josh Jackson inactive again? Because they like other guys better. That's as simple as I can put it. Josh Jackson is not trending in the right direction. Nags, I saw the play Ben Fennell showed with Aaron Jones running wide open. Do you think Rodgers just missed him? I think Rodgers predetermined because he saw one on one with Devontae on the outside. And like I said on Twitter, that happens sometimes. There was an instance I put up years ago. There's a play where he predetermines the throw to Jordy up the left sideline, and Randall Cobb is open, breaking on an in or a slant. It happens. Clearly that play looks like it's designed for Aaron Jones, but I think Rogers saw a matchup he liked pre-snap, saw him get off the line, and thought he'd take a shot. You know, it stinks because you love watching Aaron Jones get the ball. And that was the other thing. I know after the game, I got a lot of why weren't they throwing to the backs after they've been throwing to the backs so much over the course of the last month. And there were a number of plays that you could tell were designed to go to the running backs, but Aaron just went someplace else, and that's going to happen. That's football. Um, but yeah, that play to Jones is tough to watch because he's so wide open. P. Cole, thanks for the super chat. Kenny Clark plays like barbecue sauce. Masterpiece. I tell you what, he announced his presence with authority on Sunday. Holy cow. Paradise is going to be having nightmares about that game for a long time. Jake, thanks for the super chat. Love the deep shot to Lazard and the Rogers smirk. Yeah. Oh my God, it was great, right? Like he knew, like he just looked back and went, "Yeah, I took a shot." Yes, I'm right with you. That was awesome. Is there a new Neg or Star Wars podcast? Not yet, Bruce. My daughter and I will put up another one probably this weekend, uh, reacting after the Mandalorian because they're releasing the second episode on I think on Friday, and then every week after. So we'll have both episodes to talk about. Martellus Bennett going to play more? Martellus Bennett? I don't know. You mean Mercedes Lewis, perhaps? Is there a new? Oh no! It's nice to see Jimmy turn on the afterburners. Well, hey, he was open and then he made a move and he actually got some yak. Turn back the clock performance from Jimmy Graham, at least on one particular play. Thoughts on how 75 played compared to his last games? Definitely much better showing from Bulaga, no question about it. Um, Now, obviously, everyone struggled out in Los Angeles, and you can't put too much on that one. The Kansas City tape was a little more worrying, but I thought he bounced back pretty nicely against the Panthers. What's the next game you're going to at Lambeau, Christopher? All the games at Lambeau. I'm Cheesehead TV has the partnership with iHeartRadio, and I do the post game show out of Stadium View after every game, after every home game at Lambeau. So I'll be at the. There are only two left, and I'll be at both. What's the part of our game you think needs the most improvement? Ooh, that's a really good question, Tulio. I would say, probably still stopping the run. As the weather turns and teams start gearing up to run the football, you want to go into the playoffs if you're lucky enough to get there. Being ready to punch people in the mouth and not be the one getting punched. And if there's an aspect of physicality missing from this team, that's where it's got to materialize. It's got to show up here. And now the second half of the season, they're going to coming off a bye. They're probably one of the healthiest teams in the league. Um, yeah, that's they've got to shore that up. And I would say, I know a lot of people probably say pass coverage, maybe what we were talking about earlier about the crossing routes, etc. I think there's enough talent there that I'm not worried about that at all. And I think they've been opportunistic, so I don't worry about their ability to create turnovers. They've got a pass rush clearly, um, but yeah, the ability to stop the run is, I think, going to be the biggest concern throughout the season. Did anyone ask about Preston Brown? No, no one did. What's the question? Uh, Sorry, guys. I used to live in Wisconsin for 30 years. Now I live in Chiefs Nation. I love the Chiefs losing streak, and I never got rid of my accent. Oh, yeah, Christopher. I hear you. When do they have to activate Raven Green? Well, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember when exactly he got put on IR, but it's 8 weeks from then. So he's good. Go Google his injury, and you'll find out. Just take 8 weeks from when he was placed on injured reserve. You ready for the number one seed? I'm ready for a weekend with my girls and just chilling, watching Star Wars and NFL football on Sunday, and then getting back into it and getting ready for the 49ers. That's what I'm ready for. The seed stuff, the playoffs, whatever, that'll take care of itself. Would he be a good pickup after being cut by the Bengals? I doubt it. I mean, I think like we were just talking about, I think Ibrahim Campbell is the guy you're going to be seeing a lot more of. If they wanted, a backer, they would throw Goodson in there or Burks in there. I don't think they would put a claim in, but you never know. Maybe they see something on the tape that they like, bring him in, but I doubt it. Uh, Tim Harris or Bryce Paup? Oh, Bryce Paup, dude, Bryce Paup was a freaking legend. I was actually just talking to Matt Bowen about him the other day. Uh, can the Packers beat the 49ers realistically? Hell yes, they can. That is a beatable team, kids. Yes, the Packers can. 1 billion% they can beat the San Francisco 49ers. Clip that, put it on YouTube, on your own channel, put it on your Twitter, put it on your Facebook, sing it to the moon. Yes, hell yes, the Packers can beat the 49ers. Sternberger TD coming. Ooh, Josh, I like that. I mean, let's get him a reception first. But yeah, hey, maybe his first reception is a touchdown. I'm down for that. Do you think our defense has the speed to keep up with an offense like Baltimore or Seattle? Daniel, I don't care. I don't care. Until they have to play Seattle or Baltimore, I truly don't care. All I care right now is beating the 49ers. It's all I care about. That and The Mandalorian, because I'm going to watch that again tonight. Our defense on tight ends is killing us. Daniel, that is 100% true, and that is a major worry. And it's the one thing I forgot to ask LaFleur about on Monday. The fact that Greg Olson, 400-year-old Greg Olson, who's done very little this year, had to turn back the clock performance against the Packers, kind of keeping with this trend we've seen all season of tight ends killing this team. But I will say, tight ends have killed them week in and week out. That's not new. Every team knows it. Every team goes after it, and yet the Packers keep winning football games. Sunday being the latest example. Is it a soft underbelly for the defense? Absolutely. Is it a worrisome part of this defense? No question. They're still winning football games. It's not a death knell. They just have to be able to limit the damage the tight end does. Russell, thank you for the super chat. Take care of the football. Packers beat the 49ers. Stamp it. I like the way you think, Russell. You're talking my language. Listen to me now and hear me later. Go, Pack, go. Hit those likes. That's right, Daniel. Now you're talking. Now you got it. Hit like, people. Hit subscribe. And while you're at it, tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. It's what we do. We're here for you. Packer Transplants is back tomorrow. Me and Corey, we're going to throw it down for you from the studio, 5 o'clock Eastern. So, set your reminder. I'll have it up in the morning. Make sure you're here or on a Facebook, on the Twitter, on the Insta. We're everywhere you want to be, everywhere you are, because we're devoted to you, Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. And hey, if you like what we do, please check out our Patreon, patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. $5 a month is all we ask, and it supports everything we do. These headsets, microphones, this nice camera, they don't come cheap. So thank you so much, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow with Packer Transplants, and make sure you check cheeseheadtv.com for all the latest. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good night.